Hey everyone, welcome back to Home Ericanomics. I am Erica, and for today's class, we're going to be making shrimp tacos along with Mexican rice and a little bit of refried beans. So put your aprons on and let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and start making our sauce for the rice. So we're going to take some onion, and then I also have some cut up tomatoes that we're going to add, a few bulbs of garlic, and then pour that all in the cup. Then add in some chicken bouillon and some sazon. So we're gonna bring that back. Just kind of season it up a bit. Add in our sazon. And then some water. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a pan and we're gonna add some oil to it and let that warm up. Once that gets nice and warm, we're gonna go ahead and dump in our washed rice, because we always have to make sure that we wash our rice first. And then at that point, we're gonna go and stir this around until it gets nice and toasted. All right, once your rice starts to get a little color to it, we're gonna go ahead and add in the sauce. And then also, we need to make sure we can taste it to make sure it's exactly how we want it to be. So after giving it a little taste, in my opinion, it's got the perfect amount of salt, got a little bit of spice to it, and we're in business. So just gonna stir this. And then we're going to put the lid on and just let that cook for about 20 to 25 minutes on low. And to let it puff up, and then we will use a fork to fluff it up once we're done. So I'm actually going to close it up and I'm going to move it to my back eye because we're going to need to make our refried beans. For our refried beans, we're going to start with 1 can of pinto beans. And then I also have some seasonings here, which is just chicken bouillon, garlic powder, and onion powder. And we're going to add that in there. Then we're just going to take a little bit of water and let that cook. And so as this starts to cook down and absorb the water, we're going to add more water at a time. And then I also have a masher so we can begin to mash this down. All right, so the last thing we need to do before we start grilling our shrimp is make a nice little avocado crema. But not with this avocado because this one isn't right, but I do have another one. Now, to make the crema, we're first going to start with just 1 avocado. Make sure it's right, because if it's not right, it's not going to blend very well because it's going to be too hard. Then we're going to take about a handful of cilantro. And this cilantro smells so good and fragrant. This is one of my best plants right now out in the garden. Then we're going to take 1 clove of garlic. And then we are also going to add in the juice of 1 lime. So I got my little juicy thingy here. Just gonna squeeze that in. So that's 1/2 of the lime. And then we'll get the other half. Squeeze that in there. Once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and take some of our seasoning. So this is garlic powder, onion powder, and some salt. And toss that in. And then lastly, I got some crema, which I'm just gonna add a little bit of that. It's gonna help bring that creaminess, but also help it to blend. Now I'm gonna take this over to my blender and blend it up. So I started to blend it, but as you can see, there was not enough liquid. So when this happens, as it often does, just take about 2 tablespoons of water and add that in. Put the lid back on and then blend it together. Now that we have this in the bottle, we're going to use this to drizzle over the top. So we'll just add the lid and put her off to the side. Of course, we have to have our corn tortillas, but we can't eat them cold. So you need to toast them on a skillet. Make sure you have some oil. Now, if you have a griddle, you could also toast them there. We just need to make sure they warm up just a little bit. And then maybe we could even get some grill marks on it. Let's flip them over. Looking good. That part is done. Now we need to make our shrimp so we can eat, because I'm hungry. Lastly, we need to get our shrimp together. So I got a little bit of a blend here to season the shrimp. Now you could get the pack seasoning. You could get a farmer's market blend, or you could actually make your own, which just has salt, pepper, cumin, chili seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder. And that's pretty much it. You can add a little oregano if you want to. But we're going to toss this around, and then we're going to go ahead and grill these on our pan with just a little bit of oil. And then we're going to be able to eat very soon. Now that our griddle pan is nice and hot, let's go ahead and put our shrimp on. Now, the important thing to remember is shrimp cooks really, really fast. So once it starts to curl up a little bit, that's usually when it's ready. So you only need maybe about a minute per side. Now, when there's no seasoning on your shrimp, it's going to be also a little bit easier to tell when it's done because it'll start to turn pink. But you don't want to overcook your shrimp because then it'll get all chewy, and nobody likes a chewy shrimp. These are absolutely beautiful. Now that we finally made it to the end, we're going to go ahead and dress our tacos. So you can do these however you want. Like the traditional way is going to be like a street taco, which is just going to be onions and cilantro, and then maybe your salsa of choice. But I'm going to add a little bit of extra to mine, given that this is seafood. So I got a little bit of cabbage I'm going to put on top. And then, of course, my onions and cilantro, because that makes everything taste better. Then a little bit of queso fresco. Add some limes on the side to squeeze over the top. And then, of course, that amazing avocado crema that we made. We'll squeeze that on top. And we are done. Okay, if you made it to the end of the video, I greatly appreciate your support. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time in class. All right, class dismissed.